Hello guys, welcome to Java tutorial. So this is a second part of Java tutorial, second part of arrays in Java. So in first part, we have already seen what is array and why to use array, why do we need to use arrays in Java, and what is the difference between the normal variable and arrays. And then we have seen how to access the values, then how indexing happens in arrays, how elements in array stores in memories we have already seen. So if you guys have not seen that video, I recommend you to go to that particular tutorial for arrays in Java part 1, and please see that one because it will give you the complete idea of what the array is, how to use the arrays, and what is the use of arrays in Java. So in today's tutorial we will mainly focus on practical part because last part, first part covers the theoretical parts of arrays in Java, but in second part we will mostly cover the programming part. uh, and so let's go to our agenda first. So today's agenda for this tutorial is declaring an array, declaring array of single and two-dimensional array. Then we will see how to access the elements of array using the index, because we all know array elements store and in index form. Then we will see how can we access the arrays elements using the for loop. This is most important one. So many times people get confused about how to access the array elements using the for loop. Then we'll see the length of array. Then we will see the replacing an array element using array index. So suppose we have array index 2 and the value is 3, we can replace the value of 3 of this particular index with any other values. So we'll see that in the programmatically. Then we'll see array program for finding sum of all the elements of an array. So it will give you an example, or just to understand how the array works using the loops. So how can we perform the operations on array? Then we can see the accessing the elements of two-dimensional array. So in this case we will define two-dimensional array and we will fetch the elements of array using its index. Then we will see the accessing elements of two-dimensional array using for loop. Then we'll have some program related to array, like the processing the string arrays, then character arrays, or the converting string to a character array and reversing the string using the character array. Then we'll see uh, one program for arrays of mixed data types, like array which holds the integer data type, then string data type, then boolean data type. So different types of data type values can be stored in an array. So we'll see that one as well. Then copying the one data of one array into another array for a particular index as well, we will see that one. Then the important one again is the passing an array as a parameter to method, then returning array from a method to another method. So this is the agenda for today's. So it looks like quite a bit of big agenda, but I think it will cover the complete array part. So so in this case, how we declare the array. Okay, so we can see this part. This is the data type of an array, and this is the name of array, and this indicates this bracket indicates that it is an array, and we have initialized this array uh, by certain values. And then we can see these values are stored in memory, and these are the indexes of these values. Then again, and then the length of the array, like earlier in previous tutorial also we have explained uh, the array always has a length. So in this case, array initializes, or array's first element, index of first element will be the 0, and the last index of the element is 7. So that means there are total 8 elements in this array. So the length or the size of the array is, it will practically find out the length of the array. And then again, how to access a particular value by using the index of an array. Okay, so let's go to the Eclipse first. And already I have created a package called arrays. So in that case, package will create one class, and we'll see like array demo class. Okay, so it will create demo class. Now in this case, in this we will first create a main method. Okay, on inside main method, first let's declare an array. So there are two types of declaration of arrays. First one is assigning the size of it, size to the particular array, then assigning the values to those arrays. And second one is directly uh, initializing the array with certain values. So first one is like already said, integer. Okay, this bracket says it is an array, then a is equal to, let's say, uh, integer. Okay, a equal to new, and we can say integer of, let's say, 5. This is one way. This is one way of declaring the array. So in this case, if we see, this integer tells that the array is of integer type, then this bracket says that the variable a is of array type. Then once we say new, it will create an space in the memory for the 5 elements. So this will be the size of this element. And second, how can we declare another array with another type is integer? Let's say b, okay, and equal to, directly we can initialize this array like 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, in both the cases we have 5 elements in array. Okay, so like let's go back to our agenda. So we have seen how we can declare a single dimensional array. Once we go to the accessing elements of two-dimensional array, then we'll see how to declare the two-dimensional array. For the time being, just concentrate on the single dimensional array. Now let's see the and accessing the arrays with its index, array elements with its index. So already I have explained like that every, in this case, like every element has index. Okay, so we can access the values of these arrays or these elements by using the its uh, index. So now let's print. First we say the first element of array A. Now what would be the first element of array? That, like, say A, we'll see about the B. Okay, so B of 0. Okay, 0, like already I have said that the array starts with the index 0. So first we print the value of first element, that is the 0th element of array, and now execute the program. Okay, so we can see the value is 1. Okay, give some space. Okay, value of array B, 0th element of array B is 1. So similarly we can print the different values for different index, like first, then second, and third. Okay, so this will print the zeroth element, the value of zeroth element. It will print the value of first element. It will print the value of second element, and it will print the value of third element. Let's execute these programs. Okay, see. Oh, sorry. The first, instead of first, we can say second, third, and fourth. So let's execute. Okay, now the first element of array B is 1. We can see here. The second element of array B is 2. The third element of array B is 3, and fourth element of array B is 4. Okay, so we can say first element, instead of first element we can see the zeroth element, first element, element at 0 index, element at first index, element at second index, and element at third index. Okay, so let's go back to the figure and we can see 0 element, 0 index element, first index element, second index element, and so on. Okay, so this is the way we can print the value, or we can fetch the value of any array by using its index. This 0, 1, 2, 3 says it is an index of array. Okay, now let's go back to our agenda again, today's agenda. So accessing element with this. So before accessing the values of before accessing the value of in array using for loop, let's find out how to find the length of array. Okay, now like the again the first next thing is, again, like in this case we have defined the size of array, and we have already initialized the values for the array B. So, and by using its index we have fetched the value of array B by using its index. Similarly, we can initialize the values for array A, because here we have not initialized any value. Okay, now because let's just try to find out if, okay, see A of, for example, 3. So what is the expected value? See, it's 0, because this array has not been initialized with its elements. So let's initialize. How to initialize the values? We can initialize values one by one, like A of 0 equal to 1. Similarly, we can say so array of element, now this is index 2, now this is index 3, the value for it would be 3. Let's give some random values, 5, and let's say 8. So in this case we have initialized the values. Now let's try and print again what is the value of index 0 of array A. Now it should print 1. See, then again change to for example 3. Now it should print the value like 8. So we have initialized the arrays. So in this way we can fetch the values of array by using this statement, and we can assign the values to the arrays by using this statement. But this is not the case. Okay, so let's say if we have 4 5 6 or maximum 10 to 20 arrays, array of 10 to 20 elements, then we can use this method. If suppose there are 20 elements or the 100 elements in an array, and we want to print the all the elements of a particular array, then what we have to do, we have to print this statement for next 100 times. Okay, so if there are multiple arrays, then the length of the program will become so large to manage it. So the lines of code will be too large. So why don't we have some other ways to print all these values? Okay, so the solution for this is, we say, is a for loop. Okay, by using for loop and by using the single print statement, we can print all the elements of a particular array. So in this case, we can see, let's print the all the elements of array B. Okay, so how we can do this? By using for loop. Let's say for, okay, now start the counter integer I equal to 0. Why 0? Because like I said earlier, array starts with index 0. Okay, the first counter would be 0, then okay, before this just we need to find out the length of the array. Okay, like I said, the array always has a length, so let's find out integer a. So integer size of array a equal to, so how can we find a dot length? This is the method. Okay, so this will give us the length of the, or the size of the array. Let's print the size of the array. So put some meaningful statement here. So size of array a, let's see, we use b, so it has values. So b is, we can say, the size of array b. So let's see what size it prints. So see, the size of array b is 5. Let's see, one, check the values. 1 2 3 4 5. The size of the array is 5. So we can use this method of finding the size, and we can use this size into our loops to move from one element of array to the next element array until the end of the array. Okay, so now let's create the for loop. For I, okay, for I integer I equal to 0, I is less than, we can say, size of array. So size of array means till the last element of array, and I is plus. Okay, now we have single statement. So first we'll print the index. Okay, now we say that index is, what will the index? Index, it will print index I. Then we'll say the value. Okay, value of that particular index is b of I. Okay, so let's execute this program. See, the index, the value 1 is at index 0 of array b. Then the value 2 is at index 1. So this proves, okay, and now see the complete details. This proves that array starts with the index 0. Okay, now if we put fun here, okay, because we are looping, then what would be the output? See, it fetched the data of array index 1 and it skipped the value at index 0. So array always start with 0. Let's put 0 back again and see. Now it prints the value 1 at index 0. Okay, so this is the way. So what exactly happens? So it starts with 0. It checks if the size of array is less than 0, condition satisfies, then it prints the value. Okay, the value here statements. Then again the increment happens. The value of I becomes 1. 1 is still less than size because the size is 8. Sorry, the size of array is 5, still less than. Then again it will print the next value, then again the value increment, and this loop will keep executing till the condition fails. Condition fails means once as it becomes 6, it will check if the size 6 is less than the 5, or 6 less than the size of array, then the condition fails and the program terminates it, okay, at this curly brace. So this is the way we can uh, fetch the value of an array using the for loop simply. And same thing we can assign. So let's make it comment, and now similarly let's copy this loop, and similarly we can assign value. Okay, size of, let's find out the size of b, integer size of b is equal to b dot a is equal to a dot length. Okay, now we will use this. So what we are going to do, we are going to store some values in array A, because we have earlier we had initialized the values for variable uh, array variable A by using a separate method. Now by using for loop we can assign the values to it as well. Okay, so instead of this, we can say that, let's see how we can assign the values. A of I, so this I represents the index, okay, is equal to I, let's say I only. Okay, so it will automatically assign the values to the index, sorry, array A. Now again print it. See, from here onwards, it has assigned the values to variable uh, to array. Let's see, let's put one statement, array b. Okay, now array b. So in this way we can assign the values to array as well by using for loop. Now we can replace the value of a certain index by in this case. Okay, so this is a third, like replacing the value of if any element or of any index of an array, we can replace it. Now let's see, first print, okay, the value of a at index 1, sorry, index 2. Okay, so what is the value? 2. See, also this, let's see, use b. Okay, 3, index 2, index 2, this is index 2 and the value is 3. Now replace this value with any other value of b of 2 is equal to, let's say, 50. Now again same, print again the value. See, let's put one statement like before, and let's say after. Okay, so now just execute this program. See, the before it was 3 and now it became 50. Okay, now if you want, you can directly print again you can use this for loop to print all the values and you will see the difference. Okay, see the difference. Now see, 3 has been replaced with 50. Okay, so in this way we can replace the value of an element of an array of it by using its index. Okay, so now let's see one program for, okay, find sum of array elements. Let's create this class, and inside this class let's create main method. Let's close this output window. Okay, now inside that let's create one array. Okay, now integer, let's say numbers is equal to 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the elements of array. Okay. Now initialize one more um, variable called sum and initialize it with 0 because it will hold the sum of the array. So in this case, what are we going to do? We are going to add these elements, okay, and find out the sum of the elements of all these arrays, sorry, all these elements of the array numbers. Okay, so how we can do this? We have to use one for loop. For what we say, let's start the loop. Integer I is equal to 0, I is less than, okay, and numbers dot length, okay, and I plus plus. Now let's say sum is equal to sum plus let's say numbers, let's put I inside the brackets, okay, is equal to, now sum is equal to, now print sum of array element is, okay, now let's print sum only. So what happens in this program is we have declared one array which we have initialized the values of this array with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have declared one variable called sum. We have initialized it with 0. Then we have created one for loop, okay, for loop it will be initialized with 0, and it will last till the last element of the array, like 5. Okay, now in this case what happens, sum, now initially sum is 0, sum is, again sum is 0 plus numbers I, so I, this I represents the index. So what would be the index of this number? First it will be 0. Okay, so 0 index, the value of 0 index is 1, it will get added to the sum. So 0 plus 1 equal to, it will be 1, then the I will be incremented and it will become 1 again here. So the condition satisfied, then I become 1. So the first element, the uh, element at index 1 will be 2. So this 2 again gets added to this sum. So sum was already 1, so this sum, this number gets added to the sum, so it becomes 3. Then again the value of I gets incremented by 1 and it becomes uh, 2, and condition again satisfy, this I becomes 2, and it will find the element at index 2. Now index 2 is 3, so this 3 again gets added to the sum, and sum already has the value 3 because it has already added 1 and 2. So it will add this 3 to the earlier number 3 and it will become 6. So on, in this way the whole elements, every element of this array gets added to the variable sum. Okay, and finally we are printing the value of this variable sum. Okay, now let's execute this program. Now see, the sum of array element is 15. How? 1 plus 2 equal to 3, 3 plus 3 6, 6 plus 4 is 10, and 10 plus 5 is 15. So in this way we can loop through the array and we can perform different operations on these array element. We can print this array in a reverse order by just decrementing the value of I by minus. Okay, then we for that we need to initialize, or we need to start the array with this one. Okay, so array with this one, and we have to check the greater than or equal to 0. Okay, minus, then we just print, what we print, the numbers of I. Okay, so let's delete this statement. So I, see, now the number is completely reversed. So let's remove this ln part. Okay, and let's add one space here, and we can see the array. First it was array was 1 2 3 4 5. Now it became 5 4 3 2 1. So various operations can be performed on these arrays. Okay, now let's see the two-dimensional array. So let's create one class here and say uh, two dimension two-dimensional array demo. Okay, so now already we have seen how to initialize the two-dimensional array. So let's see, let's create one main method. Inside main method, let's create one two-dimensional array. So how we can say how can we initialize two-dimensional array is like integer. Okay, then a and equal to, let's initialize the value. So already I have said in or explained in previous tutorial that array, two-dimensional array is nothing but the array of array. Okay, so this, okay, then again 3 comma 4, then again, okay, so 5 comma 6. Okay, we have initialized the array with this one. Okay, so in this case, this represents the row 0, this represents the row 1, this represents the row 2, and this represents column 0, column 1 of row 0, column 0, column 1 of row 1, and column 0 and column 1 of row 2. So we need to have the if we want to access the values of this integer array, how can we access the values? By using its index. Let's see sysout, okay, system dot out dot println, and let's print the first row and first column value. How can we do that? We can say this one. First means it is initialized with 0, and this one would be the 0, like means 0th row and 0 column. So what will be the value? It will be 1. So this will be our value. So similarly, if we say that the 0 row and first element, 0 row or first column, then see first row, and we can say second column. Okay, first row, second column, so it becomes 2. So this is the row 0, column 0 and column 1. Okay, so in this way, and similarly we can assign the values to it as well, like a instead of assigning, we can say let's access these values by using the for loop. Okay, so in this case, as I have already explained, so there are two parts in these arrays. One is the rows and second is the columns. So we will require two rows, sorry, two for loops to access the elements of these arrays. Okay, now let's see first loop. That is what we call as outer loop. Okay, now this will be our outer loop to get the rows. Okay, so let's start this array with loop with I is equal to 0, that means 0th row, then it will be the last till a dot length and I plus plus increment. Now let's print the rows. Row, what is row? Row is I. Let's print row I. It will print the number of rows. So what, how many rows we have? 0, 1, 2. Okay, we have 3 rows. 0, okay, 0, 1 and 2. Okay, 3 rows. Now, so we have find out the rows. Now let's get into the columns. Like I said, for columns we will require another loop, okay, to get the column. So let's start into it. J is equal to 0. Okay, now we have 2 columns only, but we have 3 rows. Okay, so J is less than a dot length. Will it work? Because it will fail, because it will try to fetch the third column as well, because in this loop we are trying to get the data of columns and we have only 2 columns. Okay, so we can say it length -1, so it will loop till 2 columns only. Then J plus plus, Now print the columns. Okay. Column number. Okay. Column number will be J, and let's say value would be what value will be there? A. Okay, I and J. So again, so we have to uh, print the values, and we have to provide I as index of for rows, and J would be the index of columns. Okay, see, so 0 row 0, this is the row 0, and the column 0 is value 1, and column 1 is the value is 2. Now row 1, column 0, column 1, 3, 4, you can see here. So column 2 and sorry, row 2, column 0, 1 means 5, 6. So in this case, what exactly happens? It will first start the outer loop. Okay, now we can say inner loop represents columns. Okay, so it will first start with the outer loop. First it will initialize it with 0, means 0 rows. Then this loop will execute for 2 times. The inner loop will execute for 2 times. First it will be j means j equal to 0, means it will start with the column 0. Then it will check the condition, and it will print the rows and uh, the value of rows and columns. Okay, so it will print 1. Then again this loop once again will execute. Now j will become 1. So for the column 1, it will check the condition satisfies, again it prints the column value of 2. So in this way, the outer loop will execute for 3 times for all these 3 loops. Okay, and the totally the for loop, inner for loop will execute for 6 times, means for 6 columns. Okay, so see, 0 1, row 0, row 1, row 2, so outer column. So this is statement, and column 0, column 1, column 0, column 2, 1, column 0, column 1. So this executed 2 times for every row. So in this way we can fetch the data of 2-dimensional array. Okay, so similarly we can create the arrays of different data types as well. Okay, for example, let's create the array of string array demo. Okay, we can create the uh, array of different data type as well. So let's go for main method, and let's create one string. The process will be remain same, str equal to, now let's initialize values for this array. Like, since it is a string, we have to provide it in double quote. So let's say we can say like cities. Okay, so cities is like Mumbai, then we have Delhi, then we have Kolkata, and lastly we have Chennai. So we have initialized this string type of array with these number of values. So similarly, let's print all the values. Okay, integer I is equal to 0, I is less than, still cities dot length, and I plus plus, and let's print. So at index, again let's print at, index, um, let's say I, and we say city. Okay, cities, like cities of, cities of I. Okay, see, at 0 city Mumbai, at 1 city Delhi, at 2 city Kolkata, and at 3 city Chennai. So in this way we can create the arrays of string as well. Now let's create an array of characters. We can say character array demo. So in this case we'll do something else. Like first we will create one string. Okay, there are two ways. Okay, we can convert one string into array, and we can define, or second thing is we can define the array. Okay, so let's create first one, like character, or we can say char array equal to, see this one, A, then B, then C, and D. So again use for loop. Okay, integer I is equal to 0, I is less than char array dot length, and again I plus plus, and now print the character array. So char array of, I just make practice of it, lot of practice of it. C, A, B, C, and D. Okay, now so another program. So by another type of character array. So let's see one program itself. Okay, so what program? Reverse string using char array. Okay, so in this case what we do, let's first create one string. Okay, string str equal to, let's say, Java. Okay, now again string, we say original str. Now we say reverse str. Okay, equal to, let's start it with no values. Okay, now let's create one character array. Char array. Okay, we say char array equal to original, sorry, make it small. So original string dot, there is a method available in Java for string to convert it to character array. Okay, now similarly, then again let's use for loop. Okay, now in this case we are reversing the string. So after the output would be, first it will print A, then B, then A, and then J, because we are reversing the string. And earlier we have seen how to reverse an array by uh, uh, by using the minus value of I, like initializing the uh, array with the length of the character array. Okay, length minus 1. We have already seen y minus, then it will check the condition for I equal to 0, then I minus minus. And now, so what we do, we assign every character to this reverse string. Okay, reverse string is equal, first there's nothing in reverse string. Now let's add something in reverse string variable. Is what we do, we say the char array of I. Okay, now sorry, it should be plus actually. And now let's print this string. Let's say, we can say original string. Let's say original string. Now again say what we say, we'll print the reverse string is reverse string. Now let's execute this program. Let's see. Okay, first it was the original one is Java, and now it becomes can you read it? Okay, so AVAJ. So we have completely reversed the string, and many a times this question may ask in interviewer as well. So remember this program. So the next one is, how can we pass different types of arrays into a single array? Okay, let's create one class called as multiple data type array. Okay, so in this case, as we all know, there is a class of class. The main class of all classes in Java is object. Okay, and we can use this class object to use different data types. Like for example, we create one array of object, like this object class, it belongs to the package, it belongs to the package java.lang. Okay, like string, integer, we have one class called as object. If we want to use different types of values, or different types of different data types of variables, then we can use the object. For this, let's see, create one array of object, and we see object array. Okay, now let's create new, and we say object of, let's say, 5. Okay, now by using our index methodology, we can add the different types of values in it. For example, of array, okay, of 0. Okay, 0 equal to, say, string. Okay, similarly, object array of 1 is equal to let's store one character array A, then object array of 2 is equal to, let's say, 10, and object array of 3 is equal to like 10.23, and lastly object array of 4, 1, 2, 3 4 5. Okay, so is equal to, let's say, true. So in this case, a single array is holding a multiple data types, multiple values with different data types. This is what I was talking about at the initial when we started our tutorial. Okay, so let's print each and every value of this element array. So integer I is equal to 0, I is less than, again, the object array dot len and I plus plus. So at index, let's say, uh, index, what is the index, let's say I. Okay, now the value is the object array of I. Okay, see, we have stored string at index 0, character at index 1, integer value at character index 2, float value at index 3, and boolean value at index 4. So this way we can store the different types of value into a single array. So in this way we can use the multi-dimensional array as well for this object class, for this object data type. Okay, so now let's get back to our agenda. So we have already covered so many things. Now we are close to this passing array as parameter to method in Java. Okay, now let's get back to our Eclipse again. Let's create one class called passing array to method. Okay, now like normal variables, like when we create any method, we pass the uh, parameters to the method, like integer a, integer b, integer c, or any other values like username or password, anything. Similarly, we can pass arrays to the method as well. Okay, now let's create one method inside it and call it as public static, and I'll explain you what the static is in coming tutorials. For the time being, just ignore it. So static void, so it's not returning anything. So let's say pass array to method. Okay, this is the method name. Now we can say it is integer a. Okay, we are passing the uh, mm, array, complete array to a method. Now let's what we do, we print the values of this values of every element of this array. So how we do, it's a normal process, like integer I equal to 0, I is less than a dot, again len and I plus plus. Okay, now let's print um, again the index. So the index would be I, then value, what would be the value, a of I. Okay, now we have created one method. Now let's create one main method. Inside the main method we'll call this the pass array method, this pass array method, and we'll pass one array to this method as a parameter, and it will print the values of this array. Okay, now before that we need to initialize one array, which array we will pass to this method. Okay, for that let's create one array called number is equal to, directly initialize it, So let's say 1 3 5 7 9. Okay, this is the value, this is the array we are going to pass to our method. So let's call this method pass array and pass. See, we can see this number. Okay, so we have passed this array to this method as a parameter. So the control will transfer it to this method, then the index and the value of elements of this array will be printed. Okay, now let's execute this program. Okay, the program is successful. So let's see, it prints all the values at their respective indexes. Okay, so what we did, we just passed the array to method. Okay, remember this program again. Okay, now the last topic in our agenda remain is returning array from a method. Okay, so let's get back to Eclipse again. Okay, now create one class, say return array from a method. This will be our class one. So similarly, as you might be knowing that we can return a value from a method. So I will not go into detail of how a method return the values and how other method catches those values and make use of it. So simply we are trying to understand how arrays can be returned from a method. This is important one. So because in the applications being developed recently, it requires a lot of applications requires to return the arrays from a method. Okay, so for that we will create one method. Okay, and we will say like public static now it's returning the array of what, integer. Then we say method name return array. Okay, so once we put the cursor here, it say add a return statement or change return type to void. We will not change return type to void because we are returning the array integer. Okay, array of type integer. Now let's define one array. Let's say a equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3, sorry, inside it let's say 1 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40. Okay, so or instead this let's assign okay, instead this let's say new integer of for example 10. Okay, now initialize this array, use for loop. I'm trying to explain different methods. Okay, integer I equal to 0, I is less than a dot length. Okay, and I plus plus. Now so a of I, sorry, a of I, let's initialize this array with these numbers. So this loop will execute for 10 times and it will assign this value of I to the uh, the array of index I. Okay, now we say like normal return method, we can say like return a. So this statement will return an array. Okay, so once we return the array we need to catch it. Let's create one main method. Okay, and inside main method we need to mm, define one array which will hold the values of this array. Let's say b equal to, and now call the mm, method. What's the method name is? Oh, okay, the method name is return array. So whatever array it returns, these values will be stored in this array, and by using for loop normal for loop integer I is equal to 0, I is less than b dot length, and I plus plus is simply uh, print the value of array index. Now index is I again, then value is, what's the value? What we have written the value is b of I. Okay, now let's execute this program. Okay, see, it starts with 0 till 9. Okay, so 10 values. So it has already, we had defined the size, we put the values inside this array, and we return array by using this statement return a. It will simply return the array, and we have created one more array inside the main method which will catch the array, which will return the value as array to this array. Okay, and we simply use the for loop to print this array of the elements of array b. Okay, so in this way I hope you guys have understood the concept of array. We have used so many programs like how we initialize a two-dimensional array, single dimensional array. Okay, then this is agenda we have covered today. Okay, so this is how array works. So thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you.